For some reason, there's a high demand for Animal Jam creepypastas in the community. I don't quite understand why myself. I guess some people find the idea of a jammer setting their eyes to that X shape to be somewhat terrifying, because there are so many creepypastas about this game. Considering how popular they all are, I thought I'd make one of my own. After all, anything for views is what I always say. So for the past few days, I've been building a prototype of a robot. It took me about a week to decide what to name it, but I ended up settling on Storybot, the most original and creative name for a robot that makes stories. So I'm gonna tell it to make me the best Animal Jam creepypasta possible, but it's not that easy, I'm afraid. In order to make a story, the Storybot needs samples of other stories so it can make one similar to them. So I've pulled up a list of 3 Animal Jam creepypastas to take a look at, and to feed to the Storybot in order to make this creepypasta the best it can possibly be. Let's get into it. The thought of free membership had always excited me, for days. This sentence confuses me, so the thought of free membership had always excited you, but only for days. It's an oxymoron, and in my opinion, had always excited me, without the 4 days at the end would fit better. Also, this comma is placed incorrectly. I kept bugging my mum and dad if I can have at least 1 month membership, yet they always say no. I think you mean yet they always said no, considering the fact that the rest of this story is in past tense. I've been on free member accounts, but I either get logged out or some idiot suspended it. I've tried membership generators, but most of the time, they don't work at all. Remember that last sentence? It'll be important later on. I'm gonna skip this part because there isn't much for me to say here, so pause the video if you want to read this part. The narrator basically says that they find a new jammer who is also a member, and they have a working generator to get membership, and then this happens. He arrived at his den and said, go to ajgamembership.com and download it. I don't know why, but I feel like they wouldn't be allowed to type links into the chat. Also, this... Normally, I don't really download anything random from the internet, but it sounded promising. Promising like all the other generators you tried that didn't work. What specifically have you heard about this generator that makes you want to use it all of a sudden? I logged out and went to the website. I scrolled down to the comment section and there was only one comment. It read, don't download it. I didn't listen, so I just clicked the download button. Sounds promising. For a .exe file, it was pretty fast to download. I opened it up. What I saw horrified me. Instead of 2 boxes to fill out my username and password, it was a video of me. This seems to be straying away from Animal Jam right now. Oh my god, I thought. It was from behind me, and in the corner was a man, smiling maniacally. I tried to shut it off, but it won't even budge. But it wouldn't even budge. Again, this is written mainly in past tense. I was forced to watch what would happen next. Walk away! The man got out of his spot and started moving slowly towards me. I was scared and petrified. For good things, this does have somewhat of a unique concept. Unlike the overdone idea of F-Man 122 or the Lost Jammer, this one does something unique and I respect it for that. I felt a small pain on my back as it slowly got bigger and bigger. Black spots were dancing in front of my eyes and everything I ever knew was black. I swear the last thing I saw was the same man from the video. Wait, does this mean the narrator's breaking news? 12-year-old girl found dead in the house during nights of March 27. Policemen are now on the case. Well, that escalated quickly. This is a common trope in these creepypastas in which the narrator dies at the end of the story. It's pretty overdone, and the ending is probably my least favorite part, because it feels somewhat out of place to completely change the narrator for about 2 sentences with no warning. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. Moral of the story is to never use a membership generator. Can we move on to the next one now? Thanks. Warning, this contains blood and gore. You have been warned. What can I say? You guys have been warned. Blood and gore up ahead. It was a normal day in Animal Jam. Jammers were crying out for rares and trades, asking for mates, and of course, the drama. But don't get me started on my mile-long list of annoying jammers I saw on that day. I always thought, am I the only normal jammer? I thought we were reading a creepypasta, not watching a 90s middle school sitcom. I don't know why this is in the story at all. It seems like they started writing a comedy, then took 2 months off, came back, then forgot what they were writing, then went for a creepypasta instead. I moved my fox around. It had a pink and purple elf tail on, from the shop of course. I was extremely unreal. Did I care? The answer was no. Remember this sentence, it'll be important later on. One day I saw someone yell out, "Haunted shop, my den, real haunted stuff." I can already see where this is going. Like, get real. How are there haunted stuff in Animal Jam? I went to her den just because I was curious. She had scary stuff. That's what I thought. She also had a shop. There were jammers in a line, including me. Before I knew it, it was my turn. What do you have for sale? I asked. Sorry, I only have a spiked spike left. She said, what's a spiked spike? Don't you mean spiked collar? I bought it for one necklace. Incredible! It was a black, long, rare collar. My dream item. Just for one necklace. But you said you didn't care that you were on rare. Whoops, I did a rhyming thing. Be careful. Don't put it on, she said. I went to my den. I ignored her warning and put it on. Something tells me this conveniently ignoring warnings concept is going to be kind of a theme in this video. Suddenly the screen zoomed into my fox. Its spikes suddenly turned inwards. The sentence is written in such a way that makes me think of their fox had spikes that turned inwards when they clearly meant to portray the spikes turning inwards, and started growing into her neck, cutting it, and before I knew it, blood was dripping down my neck. It was cutting my windpipe. I started suffocating. My last thoughts were, I am home alone. Will anyone find me? Will anyone know what happened? Will I ever be alive to warn the jammers? Next thing I saw was darkness. See, look, there it is again. The narrator died at the end of the story. 3 cheers for creativity, folks. 3 cheers! So be careful, jammers, of your spikes. Even if they aren't rare, or black, or long, it could be any spike you get. So the moral of the story is, if you have a spike, delete it from existence, because it's possessed and it'll suffocate you. For good things, it does do a pretty good job of describing the situation, so readers can somewhat imagine what's happening and what it looks like. Anyway, that's linked in the description, and now let's move on to our next and last creepypasta of the video. I don't think it's possible to make a video like this without mentioning the oversaturation of F-Man 122 creepypastas. There are so many, the AJ Stories Wiki literally has an entire category dedicated to them, and they all follow a very similar formula, and this one is no exception. It all began on normal Saturday morning. Go on Animal Jam, trade, talk, go to a party. But today was all wrong. Some jammers in Crystal Sands were talking about F-Man 122. How could they talk about him when the word F-Man is literally banned in the chat? Non-members cannot send gifts, so F-Man can't hack us, a jammer said. F-Man 122 was always a myth anyway, I said. He is real, but he can't get us now, another jammer replied. I then smiled and just went to Oldan to trade. So the narrator's going to Oldan, the same server that F-Man 122 was known to hack in a creepypasta about F-Man. I wonder what will happen. A few F-Man 122 clones were around. Ha ha ha, non-members can't send gifts, nah 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 nah, I teased. So that. But this one was real. He jamagrammed me. As I saw the normal jamagram, F-Man's face then showed up, and weirdly, he took me to his den. Oh wow, didn't see that one coming. I am real, he snapped. Snapped isn't a good verb to use in this scenario, because of the 3 full stops in the sentence, symbolizing a pause for dramatic effect. Always think of snapped as the words you'd use when somebody says it quickly in a hostile tone. And I'll take all your nice little rares that you worked ever so hard for, he chuckled. Not the rares! Anything but the rares! Suddenly was now frozen. What a weird sentence. I suddenly was now frozen. That doesn't sound right for some reason. His animal was dripping with the fire pattern, but it was blood. Animals in Animal Jam dripping blood cliche. His eyes glowed red. You're next! His raspy voice echoed through my headphones. I could not get out, get off, or turn off my computer. My account went crazy. Crazy how exactly? I would appreciate some more description. And I heard an evil laugh. I am real, he laughed. I screamed louder. I went on my backup. All my rares were gone, and my username was gone. Writing a horror story about losing your rares is about shallow and superficial as writing a horror story about your mobile phone running out of charge. I was traumatized. Me too. I mean, just the mention of losing rares in Animal Jam, it's enough to make me fall out of my seat and be suddenly now frozen. HHQ didn't do anything, and that was my last time on AJ. Never mess with F-Man 122 clones. Never. Well, that was a classic example of an F-Man 122 creepypasta, dealing with a topic which is more mildly annoying than terrifying and traumatizing. But anyway, those were our 3 creepypastas. They've been printed out, and it's time to feed them to the storyboard so it can write us a truly terrifying creepypasta. Hey storyboard, I've got some samples for you. I was wondering if I could give them to you. So you can write me an Animal Jam creepypasta. Make it really
Can we
scary.
not scanning samples. Nearly done. I'm finished.
It looks done now. It just said done, so I think it must be done. Okay, let's see what we've got. Oh, it's got a bit jammed. Warning, scary warning. You'll get scary. Don't read if you are prone to scary. It was a normal day in Animal Jam. People are going crazy over famous jams being online. People are screaming over finally getting a headdress. Meanwhile, I sat in my den. Not much was happening until I got a jamgram from somebody whose name was... I didn't think it was possible to write those symbols in your name, so at first I was suspicious. Then I read his message, give me your password, and then I'll give you tons of rares. Then I realized the impact of what he was saying. It sounded promising. So then I messaged one of my friends and said, OMG, this guy asked me to give him my password and then he'll give me tons of rares. She responded, don't do it. What an idiot, am I right? So I jagged him my password, then he said thank you, followed by another jamagram saying come to my den for rares. So then I did, but I regretted it soon after. He was there, surrounded by blood. I didn't think there was a blood item in Animal Jam, but I guess I was wrong. He then said, then I was like, what? And he was all... Then I went, lol, what are you trying to say? And he went like... And then I was like, okay, this is weird, and then I blocked him. A couple of days later, I felt like some Animal Jam, so I typed in animaljam.com, and the menu was exactly the same, except all the animals' eyes were oozing blood! All the text on the screen was replaced with random symbols, just like the ones was sending me. When I logged in, I noticed that my animal had X's for eyes, and was now renamed... All my rares were gone, so I quit Animal Jam. Also, maybe I died or something, I don't really care. Story by Synthi.
What you can't do that.
Excuse me, just let me reprogram you and remove your sentience.